Hello, beautifuls. Alright, so we've got another update. This is going to be a lot of stuff. I'm going to try and get it out as quickly as possible, but it's a lot. You don't like my kind of videos? Well, you know, you can click off. No one's forcing you to be here. Anyway, hit the intro.
I don't do it by the book, no, I do my own thing. That's why every single hook got them singing like me. And I ain't in any rush, cause I'm finally getting paid. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah.
I want to quickly bring up a quote that's mentioned a lot, usually when there's tragedies. But I think it's a good thing to keep in mind in everyday life. And that's, look to the heroes. When I first broke this story, I didn't think anybody was going to pay attention. It was being whispered about in groups. I figured that was going to be as far as it went unless somebody said something. So I said something on my tiny little channel, which has grown a lot. Because people did care, people were willing to do something. And thankfully, because so many people cared and spoke up about it, we got ourselves a hero, which is Mr. Kevin Newper, a lawyer who has taken this on. Even though he's retired and he's an author now, he decided that he wasn't going to stand for this. He not only has put in a petition for cancellation, he has recruited several very, very impressive New York lawyers who are going to be involved as well. I'm going to link to his Twitter below so that he can explain this more himself. You can read how he broke all this down and about the lawyers because he talks about them, and I'm feeling very encouraged. From a situation that looked really, really hopeless, it's now looking like we've got a good chance. The authors who were getting threats of legal consequences for using a word that's been used in our genre for the forever, they now have not only an entire community on their side, they've got some pretty impressive lawyers. So this is good. Next up, for positive things, because that's where I want to start, is the new hashtag, This Is How You Indie. I think I got that right. I'm going to put it here while I'm editing to make sure that you guys can find it. Basically, it's a whole bunch of authors that are sharing books that they share the title with, or they're just posting on their wall with the hashtag and inviting authors to post links to the books. And every time I see one of these, I smile, and it feels like some really, really good stuff has come out of this. And I think we need to look at that. I think it helps us look at the situation and know that all the time that many of us have spent researching, or we've spent talking about it, or whatever that you personally are doing towards the situation, it is helping so much. So everyone who's spoken up, everyone who's brought attention to this, thank you so much. As for Mr. Kevin Newper, since he's an author and he is doing all this work for us, I think that, you know, buying his book and sharing his book and talking about his book is the least we can do. So I'm going to include a link to it as well. Go give that a one click. Now for the thing that you guys are probably all here for, though I am not spending the entire video on it. Somebody likes attention very much, and there's too much to discuss to waste much time on this. I am going to comment on a few things that I found rather concerning. So I got the video clips to specific concerning things from a YouTuber called Mistress of Reads. I'm going to link her up and put a card up there so that you can go subscribe to her channel. She also covered this story. And the author Nancy C. Walker linked me up with some screenshots. I'm going to be honest, I tried watching that video. I was going to transcribe the whole thing, but there's only so much that I'm even willing to go through. I'm really sorry. But if you want to see somebody who did watch the whole thing and comment on it, Jenny Trout did. I'm actually going to be including a screenshot to some of her comments and response to one of these clips. Let's start with the first one.
Some of my readers have written to me and they're like, I wrote to this author and I told her, you're calling us stupid? My children are autistic. Autism is constantly called stupid. You are insulting me. That word stupid is just not right. I need you to stop saying that. We're not stupid because we're supporting an author we love whose books have helped us or have entertained us. You've not even helped us. Let's just go with entertained. Isn't entertained enough?
I'm going to mention 2 points here that I find troubling. Sometimes our readers might contact us with concerns or questions. We don't need to blast them all over social media as an excuse to something that we're doing. And I've noticed that our trademark troll, and I'm going to explain why I'm calling her that later, why she keeps doing that. Every time that she does something, she uses her readers as an excuse. I think it would have been a better idea to speak with the reader, reassure them, but not throw them under the bus. And that's what this looks like. I have family members, as many of us do, who are autistic. And when somebody says stupid, those two never, they don't come together in my head because I don't consider autistic people stupid. When I see people use the word stupid, usually I'm thinking they're either using it as this person lacks common sense or something they did wasn't very smart. It's really that simple. Some people might not like the word, and I get that, but to equate it with autism in that way, I found that pretty disgusting. And maybe that's one of the reasons why she deleted the video, but the internet's forever, and these are thoughts that she clearly had, so I think we have every right to discuss them and correct these ideas. We weren't even saying someone was being stupid, but many of us were saying that she acts like her readers must be too stupid to read her name on a book. Autism wasn't brought into it by anybody else until she discussed it with her reader and then decided to blast it. Authors, don't do that. Please don't do that. Next point is this one, and it's yeah.
Oh, and by the way, for those people who are calling me KKK or bullshit like that, I'm a descendant of a slave, so think again.
I don't know who would say that she was part of the KKK, or I don't honestly believe anyone said that. I don't know why it occurred to her to bring this up. I'm going to post something Jenny Trout said and read it to you because I think she covers it much better than I could, because I'm dumbfounded. I am the descendant of a slave. What did you just fucking... This woman has targeted mostly authors of color from what people have told me. Now she's saying no one can attack her because she is the descendant of a slave. Just a thought, maybe some of the people who are criticizing you might also be descendants of slaves, and maybe slavery has bull and fucking shit to do with why we're angry at you. I couldn't have said it better myself, which is why I quoted Jenny. And seriously, I'm going to link to her recap of this whole thing. Go check it out. It covers it very well. Now, this last point, and then we're going to move on.
This trademark only affects authors who had one book out of a huge backlog, only so that I could protect my brand.
I think that somebody needs to sit down with our trademark troll and explain to her what branding is. Claiming a word isn't branding. These other authors had just as much of a right to it as you did, and the fact that it's on a single book, so you used it in a series, so that gives you more. No. That's not how this works. branding is going to be your winning personality. Branding is going to be your logos. Branding is going to be your style, your voice. These things are branding. These things are what is going to have readers remembering you. Claiming a word, that's not branding. And the dismissive attitude towards the other authors is disgusting. After all those clips of our trademark troll, I just wanted to share a little bit of Facebook Live that an author, Elizabeth York, did, because I love the sound of her voice and the passion that she showed, and some of the things that she said I thought were worth sharing. I'm going to share the link for the whole thing down below, so make sure to check that out. It made me laugh and smile, and you might enjoy it too.
The consensus was that I wasn't gonna go live. I wasn't gonna make a bigger deal out of the stuff that's going on, but I done had about enough with this cowardly bullshit. I said it, frame it, record it, whatever the hell you need to do with it, that's what it is. You go online and you say, hey, come at me, come talk to me if you're not afraid. So I do, but you ignore me. Then I pin you a message in public because obviously we can't have a conversation behind closed doors. And then you still can't answer that, but I can see a message where you called out an author and you had the nerve to act like you are better than everybody else, to act like you gained some kind of status, like you should be the next princess of England because you bought a word. Congratulations, you bought a word. Now, I know the cheese is probably sliding off my cracker right about now, but when I read that you had the nerve to tell some author, why didn't you message me in private if you have questions? Woman, I posted them publicly. Lots of people have posted them publicly. Everybody has asked and you don't answer. But don't you think you owe it not only to your readers, but to the authors to answer the questions? And these things like you say that it's so easy to retitle. Woman, I've seen the screenshot when you apologized to everybody because you didn't know the difference between a soldier and a Marine. As an Army wife, I do, by the way, take offense to that because that should have been something that popped up in any Google search. But you said that you couldn't change the title because it was too much work or whatever. Honey, if it was too much work for you, what the hell do you think everybody else in Facebook land, in the author community, is supposed to do? If it's too hard for you, then don't you think it's a little hard for them? I swear on God's green earth, none of us are going to understand it until you come down on a level where you are equal with us and you say, hey, this is why I did this. And you can't sit there and finger point out one author and say, I punished you all because of this author. You cannot do that because we aren't in kindergarten. The best analogy I've heard about it yet was last night on the podcast. We are not in kindergarten. You cannot put us all in timeout because one kid threw a crayon at you. You know, you're up, you're down, you're here, you're there. It's a freaking one-woman circus. And I don't know where I got that, but I've heard that somewhere before.
Moving on, another author I'm connected with, Scarlett Parrish. She has a theory, which I think does explain a lot. She thinks that possibly in the group that our trademark troll was in, there was a discussion about using the Cocky series. And when the other author brought it up, well, now all of a sudden she decided that she needed to protest it. This is possible. I also think part of the reason why this would have been such a huge deal and would have needed to be dealt with so quickly is because if you are searching Cocky on its own, you're probably going to see the Cocky Bastard first. Now, if somebody is writing books with their title being Cocky for each book, they're probably going to dominate that search term. So under a highly searched book by a very popular team of authors, under their book is going to be this book that's on KU that apparently gets a lot of borrows. And people are going to see that and keep grabbing the books. Which, okay, cool. I mean, that's not the way I would do it, but props. It's a plan. Now, if another author makes a series that's called the Cocky series, that might end up showing up under the Cocky Bastards more often than the Cocky Soldier Marine. Wait, yeah. The Cocky Marine and the Cocky... I don't know. I didn't memorize all the book covers, but they would show up first on the list. Somebody else naming their series, Cocky series, would have shown up first. So she made a claim for it. Not a very good claim, and she shouldn't have been able to do it. There's the possibility that she lied on the PTO, which Kevin Newport discusses more on his thread, so look into that, which might be an issue when this is contested. That's another issue, and we're going to move on from that. There's a concern right now with some people that talking about her and mentioning her books and showing her picture and all this stuff is boosting her up and giving her more sales. This is possible, but if you look on Amazon, you will see that whereas at the beginning of the week before all this broke, she was ranking in the top 100 authors in her genre, she's no longer ranking there. So besides the fact that this information needs to be out there to make sure that we have the people in place, to make sure that readers know what's going on, to make sure that nobody tries this again, the concern that this is helping her sell more books, I don't think that that's important enough to worry about. So if you don't feel like talking about it anymore for your own reasons, then by all means stop talking about it, but don't do it because you're afraid, oh well, she might get a sale from this. She might. I don't think she's getting enough sales from us talking about it to make us stop. Alright, so how does Rebellion Gate fit into this? Well, as of recording, there was an update, and the CEO of the, I think it's a Rebellion gaming company, has agreed to contact the agent that applied for the trademark and have them limit the amount of things that the trademark will cover. Because I'm just going to show this really quickly. These are all the things it was going to cover. That's a lot, and it included romance novels. Thankfully, we were able to catch this, and Mr. Kevin Newport was right on it. So he saw that, and he is like a force of nature when he goes after something. I can't imagine being against him on trial. I would not be in that position for anything. So he was immediately on that. There was a lot of tweeting back and forth. You can also see that on his timeline. And he basically seems to have convinced the CEO that the overreaching trademark of a single word was a bad idea. So all the authors that have rebellion in their title, I wouldn't worry yet, but stay vigilant still. And many people have suggested this, so it is very, very good advice. We have until the 15th for this trademark to be taken down or amended, or there are other words constantly that people are trying to trademark. There is something called Cockybot, which watches trademarks for the romance community. The person who created it also asked if they should cover other fiction genres, and I think that would be amazing. Maybe not everybody wants to see all that, but if a few of us are following it and catch a single word in the dictionary that is going to impact not only us but any other genre, bringing it to the attention of a lawyer like Kevin, who he seems ready to take on any trademark troll. Something like that, I mean, it's going to avoid problems like this. One of the things that I really respected that Kevin said is, don't leave anybody behind. Don't figure that somebody could come in with a lot of money and pick off. They don't have the money to fight, so all right, we're just going to pick them off and it's not a big deal. That is what trademark trolls seem to do, especially when they start targeting something like romance novels or fiction. They do it in the gaming community. They do it a lot in craft beer. That ended up being a huge issue that you should probably look into. I was reading up on that as I was doing all the research for this video, and I was like, this is insane. And it's something that could end up becoming a huge issue for our industry if we just sit back and figure, okay, it doesn't matter. It's not my problem. It will be your problem if it ends up being a word that's on your book cover. There is a YouTuber, a self-pub channel, and he did an interview with Kevin, which was really good. I watched that. I'm going to link that below for you to check out. His name is Dale L. Roberts, and he mentioned the possibility, and it might sound far-fetched, but think about it, of one day so many words are trademarked that people just start using numbers for titles. I mean, that would be ridiculous. It would be stupid, and how good is that going to look on your cover? I mean, sometimes numbers for titles work, but if all of us had to do that because we were afraid that we wouldn't have the money to fight whoever decided, hey, I've got, $1,000 to kill, I'm going to grab this word. This situation could end up being anybody with money is going to dominate the industry. Back to Rebelgate, some people were thinking that it was connected, that our romance trademark troll was connected to this gaming trademark. I'll call them person for now because I'm reserving judgment to see if they're actually going to follow through with limiting what their trademark covers and whether or not they're going to use it in a predatory way. They have sued people in the past for using the word, so I don't know, I'm hesitant, but I'm not looking at it on the same level as Cockygate yet. Cockygate right now is the priority because of the fact that the trademark was already issued and can be and has been used to take books down. It was used with Amazon. Amazon has since then decided, after speaking with the RWA, here I'm going to post the screenshot, they've decided to stop pulling books. That doesn't mean that they're going to continue doing that. A stern letter from a lawyer saying, well, she has this trademark, it might change their mind. This is an ongoing situation. This is a developing situation, and it's not in the same position where you could just send in a protest within the first 30 days and have it taken down, or have somebody just relinquish their request for it. This is past. So unless she's gonna have an epiphany and say, you know what, you guys are right and I've listened to everything you have to say, not gonna happen, and I'm going to, stop this whole thing. I don't see that happening. This is probably gonna end up either the PTO is going to make a decision on it, or it's going to end up in court. That's the reality of the situation. Rebellion Gate situation is not at that point yet. So while we should be vigilant, I don't think comparing the situations at this point is helpful. So to be specific about what a trademark troll is, I'm going to include this right here, and this is from the Intellectual Property magazine discussing trademark trolls, and there are 3 main types basically, and I highlighted number 3 just to show how this applies to our situation. Those who register trademarks and actually use them but seek to enforce the marks more widely than is legitimate. In this case, it would be how there are cease and desist letters going out to authors whose books would not be targeted by the initial trademark, which I think you can see where that has happened. So that is why I am using this term, because it applies. There's also a pretty big YouTuber who covered this. He has over 100,000 subscribers. His name is Mundane Matt, and he covered this, so I'm going to link that up below. But word is definitely spreading, and there is some awesome coverage of this. So if you don't know much about it and you want to learn more, there's plenty of information out there. The fact that it's spreading to other genres, the fact that it's being talked about in the gaming community is encouraging. Trademark trolls need to be something that we're more aware of and that we're able to take the steps that we need to stop them. And I don't think that the romance community has ever dealt with it to this extent. I'm pretty sure it's happened, but little things. There was mention of one of the publishers, and I'm not going to get into that, but they had trademarked a word. I don't think that they're using it in a predatory way, but there's still that concern. The second that somebody gets a trademark on a word, they can use it. And it sets a very dangerous precedent. Also, I want to share something that I was very, very proud of. I created a shirt called I Survived Cockygate 2018. I bought the same font that was used on the covers of the Trademark Troll in question, and I decided that just to have something good come out of this, I was going to make sure that all the proceeds were donated to Mercy for Animals. Here's the mug and the shirt, and so far we have raised over $120 for the charity. So that was really cool, and it's still ongoing. So if you want to grab a shirt, check in the description, the link's going to be there. I also want to give a shout out to Mistress of Reads. Again, she has a YouTube channel, so make sure to check her out. She gave me all the clips so that I can go through them and see what I wanted to cover here. And Nancy Seat Walker, who gave me the screenshots that she took with the closed captioning so that you could see what was being said. I didn't want anybody to think that this was manipulated anyway. These are comments on the author's own words. I think I've covered everything at this point. If you have any more questions, comments, whatever, leave them down below. Last but not least, before I forget, oh yeah, like, subscribe, ring that little bell, and I'll see you in the next video.